Sorry. Sorry, everyone. There was a technical glitch. I think I have muted my microphone. Very sorry, and we will begin now. A warm welcome and good evening to Dr. Mohammed Yunus Yassin, President of Association of Science, Technology and Innovation, ASTI, Mr. Anandan Shanmugam, Project Director of Young Inventors Challenge 2021 Special Edition, all the working group committee members of YIC 2021, all the mentors, teachers, participants, and viewers. Thank you very much for joining us today for the YIC 2021 online question and answer session. We have 4 panels here today to assist you with your questions. They are Mr. Anandan Shanmugam, the project director himself, Mr. Tan Che Hao, Chief Judge of YIC 2021, Dr. Nurain Salihin, YIC Working Group Member, Dr. Umayal Munusami, YIC Working Group Member. You may post your questions in the chat box and the panels will attend to your questions. Before we proceed further, I would like to invite Mr. Anandan Shanmugam to give the current update on YIC 2021. Let's welcome.
Good evening to all my respected students and viewers from around Malaysia as well as other parts of the world. I'm sure some of you are from our neighboring countries. In these difficult times, I would like to wish all a safe evening. Okay. Let me share my slide and give you a bit of update on what's happening now. Okay, I'm sure you have seen all this information before, but I would like to kickstart the panel discussion today by giving some updated information on our YIC 2021. Okay. As all of you all know, our team for the last few years has been Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs in short. There are 17 of them. Okay, so it's a requirement that you look at these and then you provide us with an innovative answer to a solution or a product based in one or more of these themes. And when you present that idea to us or the solution to us, you must be very specific which SDG goals, it can be more than one, that you are addressing the problem with. A bit of update on our current standing of the shortlisted participants that are competing for the grand finale and grand prizes. There are 150 teams that have been shortlisted. As you can see, many of those teams comes from various states of Malaysia. Okay. Some are noteworthy to mention due to their number of teams in the same state, like Negeri Sembilan and Sarawak. There are a couple of states that we usually get more. We get more teams from them, like Selangor, as well as we also have 1 or 2 new entries from states internationally. We often receive, and we are continuing to receive very good support from teams from Thailand and Philippines. There are 30 and 28 teams shortlisted from these 2 countries. Timor-Leste, we have had them before. We have one this year. Singapore, 2 teams. Sri Lanka, I think Sri Lanka is the first time we are having 1 team. Indonesia, 2 teams. I wished Indonesia, we can have more teams from Indonesia. Brunei, there are 3 teams. I think this is the first time Brunei teams have qualified. India, no teams. 1 team registered, but I think they were not shortlisted. Thank you to all, okay? And continue your effort to be innovative. Okay. Prior to this live session of question answers and discussion, we have had 3 training updates. One in May and 2 in June this year. Most of these discussions, the YouTube link is given. You can view the videos back. They sort of streamline and tells what is the main, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of running this? We have been running this for almost now since 2013, I think. It's been many years. For the last 2 years, last year and this year, we have been running on an online platform. So it gives you a clear view of what's the purpose of this, as well as the rules, regulation, and judging criteria. Please take a look at them back when you have time. Okay. Some updates on the invention pitch video submission. Okay, so there are two main submissions that you have to make. One is the pitch video, which basically describes visually your product or your innovation. The other one is the project report, written report. These are the two submissions that you have to make. First, let's go at the pitch video. As you all know by now, the video must not exceed 5 minutes. Otherwise, it will look very lengthy. The explanation of the video must be done in English with very clear audio. Okay. The video must be named as follows. Okay. So the first part of the video name must be same for all. YIC 2021 video underscore and followed by unique to your team. So you put your team name there. Okay, and the video should be uploaded on YouTube channel. So the physical file is uploaded onto the YouTube channel, and the link to that is given on the Google form, the following listed Google form. So you give the link there. Okay. Take note. Okay, this is important. Take note. Okay. For the project report submission, obviously your report should be in English. The 5 pages maximum, excluding references, limitation is still there. So we want the report to be crisp. Okay. So you can see the font so that it's more consistent across all teams. The line spacing. Okay, the project report file must be in PDF format and must be named as follows. Again, the first part of the file name must be same, YIC 2021 report underscore, followed by your unique team name. So the project report should be submitted again through Google form with the mentioned Google form link in the slide, as you can see. Okay. In this difficult time, I think this is a bit of a slight relief to, if not all of you, to some of you team members out there. So we have decided to extend the pitch video and project report submission date to 10th of September 2021 from our initial date of 1st of September. So you have about 10 days more. So hopefully that will give you a bit of a breather time for some team members to get together to put your ideas as a proper video and proper report and submit it back to us. With that, I thank you. I hope this is the initial start, and then we'll entertain some of your questions. Some of you have already sent some questions to us. We'll also discuss that with our other guests and panel members. So I would like to pass this back to our moderator, Teacher Linga.
Thank you, Mr. Anandan, for the presentation. I hope it's useful for everyone. Now I would like to pass the discussion and question and answer session to the panels. So let's welcome Mr. Tan Sher Hao, Dr. Nurain Salihin, and Dr. Umial Munusami to join Dr. Anandan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Linga. In short, Lin. Okay. Good evening to panel members, Chair, Umial and Nurain. Okay. I also want to welcome students and our supporters for YIC Challenge for many years. Some of the teams and schools have brought forward teams with new ideas annually, and that spurs our motivation to do this competition on an annual basis, and it's growing strong despite the COVID. I don't think students' spirit of providing innovation has dampened. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, what I'm going to do is maybe there are some questions already sent to us, and we have sort of compiled them. Okay, I'm going to kickstart one or two questions. Maybe I'll take one and then I'll pass some of these questions to our panel members, while students and team members are also putting forward some questions that have not been answered or something that crops up in their mind as it is on the chat box. Okay, let me look at our. So we have compiled some of the questions in some teams or some sub-teams. The first one is about related to extension of deadline for report and video. There's a team asking, can you please postpone the submission date for report and pitching? There's also a question from a team asking, one of their team members have been unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19 and they find it very difficult to proceed. So they're asking whether YIC is willing to extend the submission date. As you have seen earlier, but I would like to invite our Chief Judge Sher maybe to formally tell students again about our extension. Sher, to you.
Thank you, Mr. London. So, just officially mentioning it to you, as of last week during the committee meeting, we have officially agreed to extend the submission date from 1st September 2021, which is Friday, to the 10th of September 2021, Sunday. I think all of us hope that this extra 10 days will give you a bit of a breathing space, especially for the teams who are facing issues due to the COVID-19 pandemic and also the SOPs put in place.
Okay, thank you. I can see one or two questions coming on the comments. Maybe I should take this opportunity to apologize for the mutedness at the very beginning of the session. So have some patience. We will be answering some of your reasoned questions on the chat, and some of those are quite related to some of the compiled questions that we already have. So we will sort of push them together and see whether we can answer as much as possible in the given time. Okay. Let me read another question that I have. Okay. Thank you, Chair. Okay. This is related to the invention or the thought process itself. There's a question asking, can we improvise the structural design to meet the reality for prototype? But they want to insist that they are while remain the same mechanism and operation. Sure, maybe can you take this again? Maybe you're the best person.
No problem. So, okay. So just for your information, when YIC looks at the innovator or the innovation, we look at everything, right? So a structural change in the design is also a form of innovation. So I think in this case, if the team could clearly relate to us why there is a need for this structural design change while maintaining the mechanisms and the operation of a particular system, right? That would be very helpful to the judges. Okay, so just as I read through some of my answers to you, as per the question above, we are interested to see the prototype, to understand the changes to the design, as well as to understand the thought process by the team members. That's especially what the judges are looking at. And above more, we would also want to understand what these changes. While you see sometimes you may say that structural design changes may be a minor change, but what big impact can it make to this this current product that is already in the market or is very currently being used, right?
Thank you, sir. Okay. I would welcome the panels also to have a look once in a while, peek at the comment section, look at some questions, because we can maybe pick some of them and answer together as we are discussing or compile the questions. Thank you, Chair. Okay, let's. There's another one. Okay, the question reads as below. Can we add a new variable in our study? There's another related one, whether they can combine or make some changes or alterations to any components from the proposal that they have sent. So can they deviate a little bit? Maybe, Chair, I think maybe I come back to you for this again.
No problem. Okay. The committee has no issues with the addition of new variables or changes to some of the, or to some extent, a slight scope change to the original proposal, because that is actually very normal, right? Because when you're in this process of thinking and trying to make your innovation, of course, you come to some stumbling blocks and you find new ideas that you want to incorporate into. So that is fine by the committee, right? However, the issue comes when the teams or teams have requested for major changes in the original proposal. So I think relating to this question, I think the Secretariat has sent out a frequently asked questions sheet sent to all the team members or the participating teams about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I think in the sheet it was clearly stated that if there's any minor or major changes, we would like the teams to update or inform the Secretariat on these changes. I would just like to explain to you why this is important. Number one, well, of course, we do not want the committee or the Secretariat to freak out on the last minute when they realize that there has been major changes to some of these proposals. So at least we are aware and we know how to react to this. Of course, number two, more importantly, I think in the early stages, a lot of you has sent in the initial reports, right? And these reports were actually judged in the initial stages and were chosen as the group of finalists to enter into the next stage. So I think this is where I want to focus on that's why we want to say that any overall change to your original proposal, I think it is only fair that you need to inform it to the Secretariat and the committee, because not just fair for us, but also fair for the other teams that didn't make it into the next stage of the YSC challenge.
I suppose the short answer is yes, but communicate with us, the Secretariat, and let us know so that we are well aware and we understand both your predicaments as well as your changed product. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Maybe the next one I'll pass it to Dr. Nurain. There's a question related to, I think this one is report, and the next one about video, but let's look at the report. There's a question asking, do judges prefer to have longer explanation on the report or short and precise ones? I think they're talking about the description of the product in the report. To you, Dr. Nurain.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anandan. So, fellow students, to answer this question, so on behalf of the committee and the judges, I can confirm that both style all right for the report writing, but please make sure that you have put all the necessary information that you require to explain your project. And plus, there are 5 pages maximum for the project report. So in the case of the description, you may add some drawing or picture that can help to describe your project further. Then plus for your information, some judges are required to review between about up to 20 submission at once. So can you imagine how tired they are for reviewing the report? So of course, we would like to have the report to be short and precise, okay? But if you prefer to have longer, so perhaps you can assist the judges by highlighting your important or relevant key points to guide them during the report writing. Yep, thank you. Hope
Thank
it can help
you,
you.
Dr. Nurain. Okay. There's a question about video. Maybe I'll pass this to Dr. Meal. The question is regarding pitch video, should we do it like a formal and succinct one, or should we present in a casual and creative way? So they're asking whether creativity can be given and whether those are viewed favorably. To you, Dr. Umia.
Thank you, Mr. Anand, for the question. First of all, I would like to say you can be formal and creative. You can also be casual and creative. So basically, as long you are comfortable with your attire, and you can give a very good pitching video for that particular 5 minutes. And what I can advise to you further is, I would like you to look into the judging criteria sheet that was emailed to all of you, and spend some time to understand the judging criteria, because it will be very helpful for you throughout the whole process. I hope I have answered the question. Back to you, Mr. Anandan.
Thank you, Umia. Thank you. I see a question on the side. I think Adrian is asking, what would you prefer to see in the scientific concept? Is it in terms of the detail of the product, or in terms of application of the product, or something else? Okay, what we want is, this is our spirit of running the competition. What we want is, we want students to learn to become inventors. So we want us to show or sharpen your inventiveness in you. That's important. But in order to sharpen your inventiveness, you have to be backed up with good scientific principles. Okay, but that is not enough. Okay, that is the knowledge you need to have. Okay, the sound scientific principles is the knowledge that you need to have. Okay, apart from that, you also need to have the skills of applying and putting the product up as a solution. Okay, so either as a solution physically or as a software. So you need to come up with the product as well. So you must push that idea forward as a solution in a physical form. When I say physical, we consider both hardware and software as physical. If it is for a specific application, it will highlight its innovativeness and uniqueness. So you have to show where the application is very specific, so we can realize, oh, this is how it helps that particular SDG. Okay, thank you. Let me get back to some other questions that I've already sort of compiled. Okay, there's a question on video. I'm going to request Chil to take this question. The question reads as below. Do we need to present our prototype as we are at our respective home? Can you list down the mandatory criteria? So I think the students are asking about what are the main criteria for the pitch video. To you, Chair.
Okay. Okay. Let me just answer this, because I think there are some incoming questions by the students that are joining us now. They are quite related to this section of the questions Q&A lah. But let me just take this one first. So yes, of course, a functional prototype may garner you more points lah. So put it this way, even though of course that there's a pandemic and the SOP hindering a lot of our normal processes, I'd just like to inform that for the judging side, our judging criteria stays, and we are not planning to change some of this. So what I'm trying to get at is that of course, a team with a full functioning prototype may, of course, perhaps get a bit more points compared to a team that has attempted but has a prototype that hopefully that perhaps is partially working. However, of course, with the whole dynamic marking system of YIC, of course, you can of course garner points elsewhere, to cover back on this some form of lost points here. Okay. But more importantly, I just like to remind all participants that the YIC is actually the Young Innovators Challenge, right? It's not, and not the Young Inventors. It's Young Innovators Challenge, not Invention Challenge, right? So here of course, the invention is important, but above and beyond, we're interested to understand the process and the thinking process that the team members are going through when they come up with this prototype, right? So what are the mandatory criteria? I think Mr. Nandan has presented this in his presentation earlier, but just to make it, to enrich this, the mandatory criteria, maybe I just recap a bit of this. Of course, this 5 minutes video, we want you to introduce your team members, and perhaps even your schools. So just as a footnote, right, because you mentioned respective homes, so perhaps a lot of you are thinking that we need to do a video in which all the teams are together, right? But in the past, we have had teams who have submitted their videos using maybe Zoom, Skype, or even Microsoft Teams, right? And they've used these applications to record their meetings as a form of a video, and then submit that as their video pitch, right? Number 2, of course, remember to tell us about your thought process and the scientific principles behind your invention. Number 3, of course, you need to mention which sustainable development goals that you're targeting, because there's some team, and from there, what are the issues you're trying to solve. And above all, the committee wants you to stay safe and comfortable when you're shooting the video, right? That is the most important to us in this kind of pandemic. Again, I remind, the video should not be longer than 5 minutes. And last of all, we are very happy if, and please feel free to use any forms of applications, like, for example, slides, or audio systems, animations, or footnotes, or whatever, to make your video more understandable to the judges, more understandable and presentable to the judges.
Thank you, Chair, for that assurance. Okay. I'm going to take one question on the side. This is from Chia Yu Suen. The question is, do we have to show an actual working prototype in the pitch video, or just a model will do? Okay. To me, both will do. Our expectation is an actual working prototype. Okay. But if that is too big or too complex and you want to show a model, you can show a model. Model can be in some form. It can be a physical form. It could be some sort of an animation form, okay, or a combined software with some hardware form, okay. But it also has to be functional. A model is not something that is static. In most of the cases, it has to be dynamic. So the model has to relate what it is going to perform or do, and what are the end results look like. So it's important that the group and students, if they are coming up with a model, so they are able to show where the end results will come. How does the end results will look like? It can be a model, it can be a scaled down version, okay, but the end results must be clear, so that we can relate it to the SDG that we are going to apply that particular solution to. Okay, I hope that answers that particular question. Let me get back to some list of questions that I have. Okay, these are some of the lighter ones. Okay, there's a question asking us, must we wear school uniform, or can we wear smart casual? Okay, are we required to wear our school uniform in the pitch video? Dr. Umial, maybe you can take this up.
Yes, Mr. Anandan. Okay, from your question, must we wear school uniform? It's not a must, but you can wear anything, any attire that you feel very comfortable and very confident with it. Okay, that is the main important thing to choose your attire. Apart from that, during this unprecedented time, probably you didn't wear your school uniform at all, so you can take this opportunity to wear your school uniform. Beside that, guideline was also given to you. Okay, so I would like to advise to you, spend some time to read out the guideline that was emailed to you by the organizer, and work throughout the process. So the guideline will really help you throughout the whole process of your video and your invention. That's all from my side, Mr. Anandan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mel. Thank you. Okay. There's a question asking to judge the presentation video, is the quality of the video one of the judging criteria? Che, maybe you're the best person.
Sure. Perhaps you want to read the next question. I'll take these two at once.
Okay. The next question is, if we could not buy our material, in this particular question, they are referring to Lawe, and if they can't buy it online and it's hard for them to cross states or districts to buy it, so they've decided to simulate it by making an animation. So they are asking us, can they show animation, or can they carry out experiment and prototyping in animation? Will this be acceptable?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nandan. I'm looking at the chat box, right, and the comments, and I think these questions are also linked to the question by Shamini Surawati Jayakumar, in which she asks, in the pitch video, can the students do the introduction, personal video, and later on it's based on animation due to the SOP? The other question is, the invention, can we show the picture in model form, example in circuit platform, and later apply 3D model to show the final products? So let me try to answer all four of this in this phase. So basically, the judging criteria, right, for presentation video quality. Yes, the maximum marks for the quality of production in its entirety is around 30%. Again, I would advise the teams to go back and look at perhaps the YouTube videos that we presented on in June, right, regarding the judging criteria and also the breakdown of the points. So answering the next three questions, yes, as you know, right, for the longest time, people like us, ASTI, and the people involved in science have had a very hard time, right, to figure out how to present science in an interesting manner, right, in a manner in which attracts attention and people will want to understand it better. So to this question of using animations or any form of assistance to make it more interesting, by all means, the judging committee is happy to accept this, and we're very happy that you're trying to incorporate creative solutions, right, to the issues you're currently facing. And just as a side note also, anything relating to animation, I mentioned earlier that the entirety of the quality production is about 30 marks, right? But anything relating to animation, you have a maximum marks of 15. So this just a reminder to you, since you asked about animations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Let me take one simple question. There's a question asking as below, how to make a project report and how many pages is the report. So I'm going to, of course, there are YouTube links of our previous presentation materials that you can refer to for the criteria. Okay. In short, the answer is the report should be in English. Page limit is 5 pages. This is about the report, project report, excluding references and appendixes. The font should be 12 times Roman, New Roman. Line spacing 1, and also you must be very specific about the report title, the report file title. And you must submit this to the Google form link as we mentioned earlier. Okay. Okay. Another question. Fellow panel members, also keep your eyes on the comments to see whether if there is something that we can also pick up and answer together. Okay. The next question, if I may follow up, the next question is asking: can we show a complete prototype in the video and show the better product in a picture? So I'm not sure whether they want to ask us that they need to show a video and a picture, or can they put that together? This is also, I think, it's best suited. If Chair, you can take up this question.
Okay. Relating to this question, historically, right, the videos that are submitted to us, the trends would be that the teams would submit their prototype with a table, right? They're comparing the current products that they see in the market that is close to their prototype. So they will compare the pros and cons of the products in the market currently and their prototype, right? So in this case, what you can do is we're happy to receive this as well, because there's the section of marks given to improvements in your prototype, right? So here, perhaps you could also show us in a table or video in your video, or why you want to make the changes towards the picture that you're showing, the picture being the improved model, right, from your current prototype. So those are the improvements that you want to make, right? Or, the current issues that you're facing with the current prototype and how you want to improve it so that you get the model in the picture. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Chair. Okay. Following this, there are some questions about disruptions due to COVID-19. Okay. Because obviously it doesn't allow many students to get together. Okay. They have already registered with us. They've sent in a proposal. They've been shortlisted, but they're unable to get together as a team. Even if they are living nearby, they may not be able to meet. So in case if they have distributed some of their work to 1 or 2 or 3 of their team members, now they're trying to compile that, or they may be having some confusion of how to compile that in a proper final product or end product, both in terms of report or video. So some of those questions are related to that. That means they can't really work as a teamwork, right? As a team. So I'm going to post 1 or 2 questions. Maybe the first one, I'm going to forward it to Dr. Nurain. Let me read the question. This is from a school in Cyberjaya, which has been very badly affected by COVID-19 infection. So they're saying it is wholly impossible for us to meet up and produce the pitch video. So they're saying it's a bit unfair if they're asking any infected person to assemble the product. So how can they create a pitch video in such situations? Are there any suggestions from YIC to solve this problem? Dr. Nurain, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nandan. So this question is similar to the previous question, I guess. So as we mentioned before, you can be as creative as you want. So you can use any type of form of application and assistant to ensure your video is completed. So for example, like the YIC Secretary and Committee have employed Zoom as one of the method for video recording. So later on, you can edit it as well. So you can compile a few, maybe through WhatsApp or Skype teleconference or Google Meet, and then you edit it later on. So to answer about your ill member, so you can consider to transfer or swap your ill team member job task that been assigned to another person or team member. But during the pitching video recording, so you can justify why and the condition about your team member. Okay, so hope you can answer this question.
Thank you, Dr. Nurain. Okay. I can understand some of the predicaments of the team members of some groups. Okay, it's not easy. Okay, let's accept this. Okay, it's very difficult to be innovative and to be able to still come up with a physical product during such restricted times. Okay, you're not allowed to go there. You're not allowed to meet. There are so many cannot do than do's. So I still have a few questions with me. I hope students out there keep posting some of your questions on the comment or chat box. Even if you cannot answer individually, we will take our effort as well as to our secretariat who are working tirelessly at the back. So they should be able to answer some of your questions by one mean or another. Okay. Let me look at the question. Okay. There's a group asking, due to pandemic, I and my team members can't make it to meet each other to prepare our projects report and pitch video. How are we supposed to do our model when we can't even meet up because of the tight SOP? Please advise. Again, I suppose the judging team is well aware, okay, but that doesn't give us an excuse to give something that's half-baked solution, okay. At least in your mind, the solution must be crisp. In your mind, the solution must be visual. You must be firm about the solution that you are proposing. How to show your solution? Let's say the team members cannot meet together. You cannot show the solution in a physical manner. So please be innovative and creative. See whether you can use online platforms, online applications, and be able to visualize some of these, even in some sort of an animation form, because that will take that up one step further, closer as a solution. So I would encourage students to really look at innovative ways to present your solution. Not that your solution is innovative, but to come up with the solution, to show it off, to showcase it, you have to be creative as well. Okay. I hope that answers that. There's another question asking about I think on a similar ground. We cannot send the product to the other member for fear of the risk of COVID-19 or some members getting infected as well. So the second member has an important part of the product that is utterly needed and can only be installed by him, assuming some, I don't know, software parts or how do we overcome this unexpected state of event and finish our product with no worries? Okay. I'm going to make some assumption. Okay, let's say there is a piece of hardware and there's a piece of software. A student is developing a piece of hardware and another student is developing the piece of software. Obviously, these two have to come together in a physical way. You have to put one on the other. Of course, if the other students are cooperating, this student can send the piece of code or email the code to the other person and install or burn or embed the code onto the hardware. Okay. In case it is not as simple as what I'm telling right now, a piece of hardware and a software, if there are two pieces of different things and you want to put together, and let's say you really cannot put that together, then you have to look at another mean of getting them together. How can we ensemble these two? If it is animation, that's one sort of a way of putting this together. So you ensemble the two different things on animation. Of course, a lot of you all are very young, and I'm sure there are thousands of products out there that helps you to animate some hardwares. Just that don't lose sight of your solution, of your product. Give us some idea, put them together, show us some idea where that end product will go. How does it look like, and how will it solve the solution for a specific application? So I think that's very important. I also want to draw the panel's comments. If any one of you, Chair Nurain or Umayal, have, you can add up to my feedback to the students. I think this is pertinent. This is important to some of the students. They really cannot get together. They are physically sort of trapped, but they are very eager to send us something, to give us the solution. They were preparing earlier, but they couldn't deliver in the way they were thinking. So how can they still deliver to us? Chair, you're muted.
I believe in our earlier discussion relating to this, of course, this is a special case in which the team really has this issue of meeting up and getting the prototype up, right? I remember you mentioning that perhaps we can consider what you call this, that perhaps student A has, his part for portion A and portion B, C, and D, right? Separately, of course. Of course, they need to meet to get the whole prototype up and running, right? So what can happen in the video is that you can explain to us this component A, B, D, C, and D, and perhaps explain to us if it were to be combined, what you would do. Don't keep the judges guessing what your prototype is supposed to solve, basically, right? So I think you need to explain that also in the video.
I want to take this one question specific on the comment. This is from Lim Yanju. I'm assuming he or she maybe. Okay. I'm afraid that you missed my question. If we are developing an application, can we simulate the situation and show the screen animation instead of the real app, as it is complex for us to do so? Okay. Yes, you can. Okay. There are two types of apps. One, you have a software as a solution. Second, for you to show that solution, you do not have a physical application and you need a scenario of that. You need a scenario to be provided for the app to work. And there are softwares that provide the scenarios, okay, or that environment for this particular app to work. Yes, you are allowed to do so because, as I said, clarity is very important to the judging team. So you must convince the judges how clearly you are solving a particular problem. If you can do that, that's excellent. That's very good. Okay.
And if I can add to where Mr. Anandan is regarding this question is also this. I remember earlier that I mentioned that there's a section on improvement of your prototype. I believe because you said that this is more of a simulation rather than the app itself, right? So I think this is where you will be needed to add pertinent points, right? What is required? How do you want to improve the simulation of yours into becoming that real application?
Thank you. Okay, let me go back and get. I see there's a question again, I think from Adrian, or did I remember answering Adrian earlier, but I think he's asking, what would you prefer to see in the scientific concepts? Is it in terms of the details of the product or in terms of application of the product? No. When we mean by scientific concept, it is the scientific principle behind your product. Okay, for example, if it's okay in my mind, let's say it's like a shoe. Let's say the design is a shoe. Okay, so the shoe is a product. But what is the scientific principle behind it? Why is it comfortable? You must say, give reason, scientific reason why it's comfortable. Why is it faster? If the shoe helps you to run faster, why is it so? So that not only we can appreciate the product, we can appreciate the science behind it. So as long as you can link the science behind it to an understandable level, you don't have to go all the way down. In order to explain one scientific principle, you apply another scientific principle because science is layered. Okay, so you don't have to go all the way down. So you just need to show us what is the underlying principle for that product. And if we can catch it, that's fine. That's good. Okay. Yes, GUIs can be used for animation. That will be very good because GUI serves as an environment for some product. In my line of work, we always use or a student designs robot, and then they use the robot in a GUI to show how does the robot work in a kitchen, how does the robot work in a factory. So the environment is a factory or a kitchen. Okay. Let me take one more question back to the, maybe I'll answer this in short, and then maybe if there are additional inputs from our panel members, you all may do so. The question is, do you have any person to contact at our country, specific country, I suppose, if we need their help, such as embassy or consultants? Okay. Actually, the short answer is YIC currently do not have any country-specific representatives. We do work with many NGOs from various parts of the world, but we don't have specific people. Okay, so our thoughts is, if you have any questions that you want to ask or any queries that you want to ask, first bring that question up to our secretariat. So our secretariat is there all the time. There's a team of secretariat. They will first pick up your question and the need, and then they'll find the right person to answer that problem or that need, and then they'll bring that solution to you. So use the secretariat as your channel, because I think that will be the best for us. So we can go back to our consultants or to our experts and get the relevant feedbacks and feed it back to you through that channel of secretariat. Okay, panels, any other inputs that any one of you would like to add, or look at the comments on the site that we may have missed one or two? Because our
I
time.
think there's one question about if the participant not able to talk or answer in English during our pitching session. So can I just answer that although we require you guys to able to answer us in English, however, if you're not able to answer in English or you talk in Malay, for example, the most important that you deliver to us is you understand your project. Okay, you make sure you're able to understand, so the project is not belong to somewhere else. So if you go through your designing or your project, so you should be able to understand. So that's how you're able to answer our question during the session. So you may able to answer in your Malay, for example. So make sure you're able to deliver to us that you understand about your project. Okay, so it's not belong to someone else. So that's the main important during our pitching Viva session. Okay, sure, you want to add some more, or
Yeah, I
Maya?
think adding from Dr. Narayan's side, I think sadly to say, our guidelines stipulate that you present in English, and I believe you're not the first team to be facing this issue. We have had teams from Thailand and also the Philippines last year who have had this issue. So, I mean, things would have been easier with in the older format of the YSC, where we can meet face to face at the booth and we can actually talk and discuss, right? However, as per the Thai and Philippines team last year, I think the judges, I mean, if you tell us early, like now, right, or in the process of going towards the pitching session, the secretariat will inform the judges in advance, so that we will be what's the word for it? We will be nicer or less harsh, yeah, a bit more lenient when it comes to trying to be more accommodating to understand what you're trying to explain to us.
I think there's one session also they can have translator as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have to
Translator.
inform whether you have translator, no, especially those for example Philippines or Thailand, or you need help for translation for English. Okay.
Yeah, I think we did allow that. We did allow that last year, but so far I think the teams have decided since last year to do it on their own lah. So there's been no precedence of translators this far. It's been requested but not used.
Okay, thank you all. A special thanks to Dr. Nurain, Dr. Mayal, and Sher. Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. Maybe just one question here. I'd just like to take from Mr. Deepa Jayasri. You mentioned here, how can I get subtitles? Are you, when you say subtitles, are you meaning the slides that Mr. Nandan is presenting, or the slides for the judging criteria? Perhaps you can watch the ASTI YouTube page, and you can perhaps I did the presentation for part 2 and 3, so perhaps you can get the review from there. And I think the secretary would be happy to perhaps share the presentation from Mr. Nandan also to you if you require that. So the second question is, when will the competition be held? If I can get you correctly, and I think I mean, just to remind all the
Sure, you are frozen.
Yes. Sorry about that. I think there was a bit of a glitch. Just to answer that question, maybe what I can do, just as a fresh reminder to all the teams, I'll just read out the remaining schedules that we have towards the end of the competition. So currently, we are in between July and August 2021, in which the teams are preparing of course, your report and your innovation video, right? So you are expected to submit your invention pitch video and your project report on the 10th of September 2021, which is a Sunday. And we will be going through the process of marking by the judges and the finalization of the top shortlisted teams in September. I think by early October, we should be announcing the top 20 teams, and just going through the Viva session with these selected top 20 teams to put them into the top 1, top 2, top 3 categories. And we plan to announce the winners tentatively on the 27th of October 2021. Of course, these dates are of course subjected to change, but currently I think these dates will stay for the current moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Taking into account constraints of time, I want to thank everyone and thank our students and listeners out there for patiently asking questions and listening to us. I would like to thank the panels once again and pass the floor back to our dear moderator, Linga.
Thank you to everyone who thank you for joining in, kids, and thank you, Mr. Anandan. Now, kids, we have come to the end of our session today. Thank you very much to all the panel members for giving a clear guidance to the participants and for answering their questions. I hope everyone had a wonderful session. Now, if you have any additional questions, do drop us an email and we will revert back to you the soonest. Thank you for being a great audience, and I apologize for the incident earlier. So all the very best for your invention pitch video and project report submission. Thank you very much. We shall look forward to seeing all your videos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.